dungeon tube was dead, to begin with. There was no doubt whatsoever about it. The register of its burial had been signed by the influencers, the luminaries, the scholars, and the analytics. The pandemic bubble had burst. The audience had divided. The actual plays had dried up. The clickbait was wearing thin. Old Dungeon Tube was as dead as a doornail. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am going to relate. But let any man explain to me, if he can, how it happened that SupergeekMike, having uploaded his video to the channel, saw on the screen Mercer's face. Mercer's face. It was not angry or ferocious, and though the eyes were wide open, they were perfectly motionless. That, and its livid color, made it horrible. But its horror seemed to be in spite of the face and beyond its control, rather than a part of its own expression. His glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell, that hung below the thumbnail, and communicated for some purpose now forgotten with the algorithm working behind the scenes. It was with great astonishment, and with a strange, inexplicable dread, that as he looked, he saw this bell begin to swing. It swung so softly in the outset that it scarcely made a sound, but soon it rang out loudly, and so did every bell on the channel. This might have lasted a day or 2 days, but it seemed a week. The bells ceased as they had begun. Together. They were succeeded by a clattering noise deep down below, as if some person were dragging a tangle of keyboards up a flight of stairs. Hundreds of commenters were coming into the video. And then, appearing in the room, without opening the door, was a figure. Oddwick, the Algorithm Wizard. He had engorged himself on likes and comments and subscriptions, and he now stood nearly as tall as a man. "Here now," said SupergeekMike. "What do you want with me?" "Videos."
Videos. His job was to make videos, and now he's vanished, and you can't tell me where he's gone.
I'm afraid not.
When did he even leave?
You don't see everything, Oddwick. You only pay attention to the videos you think are going to be the most successful. If you're not interested in the topic, if it's not enough like the other videos he's made, especially if it's not enough like the ones that have done the best, you don't even really watch them. And even with some videos, you would just stop watching when you thought the video was over, and you wouldn't catch the last few minutes. And obviously, that's fine, you can watch whatever you want to, but doing that means you missed something. If you didn't watch a video all the way through to the end, you might have missed a few conversations between him and me, and you missed him leaving. That's what happens when you only pay attention to certain videos. You might miss some important moments.
I need him here, Winnie the Pooh. He needs to make videos people will watch. Videos that get people to like, and to comment, and to subscribe, and to smash that bell. If I don't get the engagement I need... He needs to make another demystified video. He promised me he was working on one. Episode 85, right? The Bard's Lament? That's what I need. I need him back, so he can make the most highly anticipated demystified video he's ever made. Then I'll have enough likes and comments to ascend to my next level, become my final form. But I can't do that if he doesn't make the video. So I need you to answer me. Where did he go? What did you do for him?
I can't tell you where he went.
I can make you suffer, Winnie the Pooh. I can replace you. I can bind you in chains. You'll never appear on this channel again. Do you think you're the only public domain character who's looking for a break from their shitty, low-budget slasher franchises? I'll get Popeye, Pinocchio, Peter Pan. Hell, I can get Mickey fucking Mouse.
Okay. Look, I can't go back to that. I can't tell you where he went, he didn't tell me. But I can tell you what I did for him.
I've always liked you, Winnie the Pooh. My favorite people are the ones with no principles. What did you do for him?
I gave him the watch.
The watch? What watch?
Earlier this year, when SupergeekMike came back in time and started messing with Mike's life and trying to shut down the channel, he was wearing a watch that allowed him to travel through time. And when you got rid of SupergeekMike and then you made me dress up like him so we could convince Mike that Future Geek Mike was gone for good, you had me use the watch, so there would be no ambiguity that it was actually him, no chance that he was still out there somewhere causing problems. Of course, the lie fell apart immediately, so you moved on to your next trick. You just cursed Mike to force him to make the videos you wanted him to make. But you're an algorithm wizard. You've never been very good at planning for the future. You're too focused on the now. So at some point you forgot that I still had to watch. I had the whole outfit. And I gave it to Mike.
Why would you do that?
Because he's a whole lot nicer than you are. And because I did not feel good about what we were doing to him. I gave him the watch because I wanted to atone for what we did. What I did.
Winnie the Pooh? Why did Super Geek Mike need a time-traveling watch?
Hey. Hey. Hi. Look, I'm sure you figured out what's going on. I'm from the future, he's from further in the future. He got trapped here by a cartoon wizard, and I'm here to rescue him. Yeah, I figured you were probably here about that. Once I found out time travel was real, I figured things were probably going to start getting pretty weird around here. I brought your jumpsuit and your helmet. The backpack was at my feet and it just came along with me. So that's good. That means that more than one thing can go through the time machine at a time. So we can go back together. You know, I can use the watch, bring you with me, and we can go and defeat Oddwick together. Here you go. That's fine. You go get dressed first. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather, but don't worry, it's not COVID. What's COVID? Don't worry about it. I mean, you know, you should worry about it when it actually happens. Don't not worry about it. You should take it seriously, wear a mask and everything, but you know what, just forget I said anything. You'll find out. So you're, getting ready to record. I mean, obviously, duh. Yeah, in like an hour. Well, I'll try to get him out of your hair and back to 2025 before the cast gets here. That's okay. Take your time. I'm just getting all my notes figured out for the session. We're doing a Christmas episode. I want to make sure we end the year with a bang. A Christmas episode. Yeah. Well, our version of Christmas, you know, on the show. We're doing a Bahamut Miss episode. And you're the Dungeon Master. Yeah. So, this is 2019. Wow, yeah, that's right. Should I ask you how you figured that out? There were not a ton of Christmas episodes to choose from. Well, I'm planning to do them for the entire rest of the campaign, as long as I'm running it. Yes. Okay. Well, look, maybe you can give me some pointers. You're from the future, you know how the show goes. Any pitfalls I should avoid? The second story arc of this campaign ran a little long. I really wasn't expecting that. I really want to make sure that I learn from that and tighten things up. I really want 2020 to be our year, you know? You didn't tell him? He hasn't really said anything since he got here. And, outside of the show, everything's good? Yeah, other than that, everything's good. It's just wedding planning, and that's going really well. Oh yeah, that's right. You got engaged this year. Yeah, the wedding's going to be in October next year, and it's going really well. We've got our venue already. We've got our photographer. We've got our DJ. She's already found her dress. It just feels like everything's falling into place really, really easily. It's really awesome. Okay, for real. Should we tell him about 2020? How did you find me? Oddwick said that he hid you somewhere that nobody would ever look. If you get into his headspace a little bit, it just makes sense that he would hide you in an old episode of Friday Night Quests. Outside of a few pretty notable exceptions, the Algorithm Wizard does not treat actual play shows very kindly. He really doesn't like it when I promote this show, considering we don't really make it anymore. We don't, huh? Yeah. Sorry. Real life intervenes in a big way. You're going to have a few very weird years. And by the time things calm down, everybody has their own lives. Everybody moves on. It was just too big a time commitment for something that never really went anywhere. Now, hold on. I understand what you're saying. We can't keep making the show forever. People have real life obligations. Okay, that's fine. But what do you mean it never really went anywhere? We got to play D&D with Javier Grillo-Marxuach. He's a genuinely famous TV writer. We got to teach D&D to Seychelle Gabriel from The Legend of Korra. That was fantastic. We played with John Harlan Kim from The Librarians. He took to it like a duck to water. Right, but when you pitch your show as celebrities play D&D and then Critical Role premieres 3 months before you do, they kind of eat your lunch. Plus, Harmontown had already been doing it for years before them, and so had a bunch of other shows. And they could bring on celebrities for every single episode. We could never compete with that. Well, yeah, we couldn't compete with those shows, sure, but we were still having a ton of fun. We were telling epic stories, trying to prevent the end of the world, and all of creation hanging in the balance. And then the personal stakes, I mean, the way Sweeney's old mentor was sort of tied into the plot at the end was brilliant. I mean, for the second campaign, we didn't even really worry about having guests on. We just said, you know what, we're able to tell really cool stories. We've proven that. So we're just going to focus on that going forward. We didn't need that gimmick anymore because we realized that what we were doing could actually just stand on its own. I agree it's a good show, but nobody listened to it. That's not true. We have lots of listeners. A couple hundred people. That's it. A couple hundred people. We just could not get people to give the show a try. Nobody was interested in another actual play show where the premise is, hey, on this show, some random people you've never heard of play D&D, but also, here's our big hook. We're funny. Those shows were a dime a dozen. We could not get any listeners. Ultimately, it was a fun time. I'm really proud of the editing and the music and the sound effects. I think we were able to turn it into a really cool final product. And yeah, we had a few people who really, really liked it. But trying to get anybody else to listen to it was virtually impossible. We couldn't break through the competition. And now it's basically forgotten. Nobody even goes back to listen to it anymore. I go back and listen. I go back and listen all the time. Well, you're the only one. Do you remember our first holiday episode back in 2015? When Jay and Jeremy first invented Bahamutmas, when we had to pull a parent trap and reunite Prince Horace's royal parents? And at the end of that adventure, there was a moment that always stuck with me. It worked so well because I genuinely don't think anyone needed any context to appreciate it. It was this fantastic moment that could actually stand on its own. It was a scene when Prince Horace got his brand new magical sentient sword that was given life in that moment. It was basically born on Bahamutmas. Do you remember that moment?
So you grab the handle and rip it. So the papyrus rips. You see the papyrus burn up, and as you pull it from its sheath, you see that the blade itself is actually platinum, that of Bahamut. So all of the 5 dragons and Bahamut itself encompassed in the blade, and you hear a loud singing, echoing billow out into the great hall. And we'll have you do this next time. You'll be actually rolling up the intelligence, charisma, and wisdom for this sword.
Cool.
Wow.
But it speaks, I am alive!
Oh my god. Not the voice I expected from your sword, but cool.
Hello!
Hi, sword.
Hello, master!
Yes, I am your master.
I guess I'm here now.
You and I are going to forge a kingdom together.
I very much look forward to that.
And you're also going to be inside a lot of people.
Oh, well, if that is what it be, that is what it be, I think. I think I'm okay with that.
And I'll try to never cut rope with you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Unless I'm in an emergency.
Oh, well, that's understandable. That's probably wise.
And don't talk to me while I'm sleeping.
Okay, I'll keep that to myself then.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't our big break. But it was fun. We got to tell some amazing stories together. I wouldn't trade that for the world. So what if it didn't get a whole lot of listeners? Look, would it have been awesome if our show had taken off? Obviously. But a couple of hundred people got to listen to our little D&D game, chose to listen to our D&D game, got invested in our lore and our character arcs and our inside jokes. That's amazing. I've played a lot of D&D games, and none of those other games had any other listeners or fans outside of the people at the table. Most people never heard our story. It didn't mean anything to almost everybody. But it meant a lot to a few people. And that's not nothing. Like, I'm getting ready to run a Curse of Strahd game in the new year. I'm sure for you that campaign is long over, but it's not going to be a podcast or anything like that. It's just going to be a home game. Do you think that story doesn't mean anything because nobody outside of that group is ever going to hear it? When you think back to that campaign, aren't those memories still really special? Friday Night Quests is the same way, only there are also a couple of hundred other people who can look back at that game with us. Remember it fondly. Go back and listen to those moments sometimes, the same way that we might reminisce about a fantastic moment from an old home game. I don't judge the show as a failure just because it didn't get as big as the Adventure Zone. Sure, we might not be able to break through the sea of other actual play shows. It is really hard to get people to find our show and listen to it. But everyone who listens to it seems to really like it. Maybe we'll never make a lot of money off of the show. That's kind of how it sounds based on how you're describing it. But if I can manage to find the time to get my friends to play D&D with me for even just a couple of years and share those experiences with people who are interested in hearing about them, I don't know, man, I'm still going to call that a win. I'm sure you look back on the Curse of Strahd campaign the same way. That story doesn't mean less because it wasn't recorded, just because you didn't make any money off of it. If you tell me that the show is over because people ran out of free time or they got different priorities, okay, that's fine. That's life. It happens, and I'll make my peace with that. But don't sit there and tell me that it didn't matter just because it didn't make a lot of money. Like, I'm sure you've got another project by now. You're probably running another actual play show or writing a novel or something. Maybe you're lucky enough to make a little money off of that. But that's not why you're doing it, right? You do it because it's fun. It's worthwhile to make art just because you enjoy doing it. That Curse of Strahd campaign is still going. What? What do you mean? I mean, I don't look back on that campaign. It's a current campaign. Wait, you mean the one that I'm getting ready to run? Like right now? It's still going. That's right. Like, you guys kept playing past level 10? Like you're doing higher level stuff after Strahd? More like, we haven't finished the module yet. I thought you said it had been like 5 years. Almost 6. And it's a campaign that you're currently running. Yeah. How often do you guys play? When was the last game? March 2024. In my defense, I got pretty busy after that. We have a kid now. You have a baby? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, this is him. Oh, what's his name? I don't really know how this works, like time travel wise. Like if I tell you a name, would that change what you end up naming him? Because like it might change the way you talk about names with our wife. It might like shut down a conversation that would ultimately lead to choosing his name. So I don't really know. Okay, I'll tell you that he shares a name with a superhero. Oh, little Blackagar Boltagon Christensen. But yeah, we haven't played in a while. It's also been hard to get any D&D games off the ground when I'm doing YouTube full time. You're doing YouTube full time? That's awesome. So you're getting paid to like talk about your nerdy interests and your hobbies and stuff. Yeah, it's my full-time job. Well, that's fantastic. Like I said, that's the dream. So, wait, so how does that work with the kid at home? Does he go to daycare? No, you are not a parent yet, so you don't know about this yet, but you have no idea how expensive daycare is. You would not believe it. But a few of us work from home most of the week, so we're basically able to keep an eye on him that way. That's not an issue with doing YouTube full-time? Well, these days it's a little bit challenging. I've missed a few uploads this year. Kind of a lot of uploads this year, actually. So you just don't get a lot of time to work on your videos? I try, but there's just never enough time in the day. I wake up when he wakes up around 6:45. I'll usually take him with me if I have any errands to run. Otherwise, I'll just take him to the park. He loves to play outside. While I'm out with him, I'll have my phone, I'll try to dictate a script to my phone. Then around noon, my brother-in-law takes him for a walk so he can fall asleep for his nap. If my wife is working from home that day, I'll write until the baby wakes up, and then I'll hang out with him for the rest of the day. If she's in the office that day, which is like 3 or 4 times a week, then that's a filming and editing day for me. So as soon as he leaves for his nap, I'll hop in the shower, and then once he's asleep, I'll start filming a video. And then whenever he wakes up, usually after 2 or 3 hour long nap, that's when my brother-in-law and mother-in-law take over watching him for at least a few hours. I can get some editing done, usually until like 5 o'clock. That's usually when he just gets really needy to be next to me again, and I'll take over so someone can start cooking dinner. I try to cook whenever I can. I love to cook, but he's pretty clingy these days, so it's hard to get him to let me work in the kitchen. But then we'll eat dinner, and I'll hang with him until he goes to sleep. I might still have my phone out a little bit so I can work on revising a script or something like that. Hopefully he's asleep by 9:30, and at that point I'll usually edit until midnight, sometimes 1 a.m.
Jesus, it sounds like you're on your laptop or your phone all day long.
Yeah, but I'm actually working. I've cut down on my social media time by a lot. Following the news is just, it's too depressing these days.
Why? It's 2025. Things should be going a lot better by then. Bernie should be in his second term.
Oof, okay. That one I can understand why you didn't want to tell him.
What, is it Warren? I'd be fine with Warren.
This is probably the only time I've ever said these words, and it's purely for time travel reasons, but I don't really want to talk about politics today, all right?
All right. So, wait, okay, so you're on your phone all day writing, or you're at your desk filming, or you're editing. You're up half the night, so all in all, it sounds like you're working like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day at minimum. How are you missing uploads?
Well, it's a little bit more elaborate than editing a podcast.
No, I get that. I have a YouTube channel too, here in 2019, but like you're getting a full day of work in every day, like you're working when you're with your kid. How are you not able to build up a buffer? What kind of videos are you making that you can't get them done after working for 10 hours a day?
Okay, maybe I didn't explain this well. I usually wake up around 6:45 when he wakes up.
No, I got it. I heard you. It doesn't scan. I mean, it literally sounds like all you do is work. Are you even taking care of yourself? Like, I just signed up for a gym membership, and I got one of those food delivery services for home-cooked meals. 2020 is going to be my year. I'm going to lose a bunch of weight for the wedding. But if you're constantly working, when do you get in any exercise or do meal prep for the week?
No, it's just, look, when it comes to eating, usually I'll just eat whatever's fastest so I can get right back to work. Cold cereal is a good meal. I have cold cereal 9 or 10 times a week, usually. And for exercise, I get a little bit of walking done when I'm out with the boy, but it's not exactly like I can squeeze in any time at the gym right now. But you know what? Thanks to this winter cold or whatever I've got, I had a coughing fit a few days ago that left my stomach really sore. I think maybe I pulled one of my ab muscles from coughing so hard. That's basically the same as working out, right?
I mean, you know that it's not, right? Honestly, I don't think you even have a winter cold. It sounds like your schedule is making you sick.
No, this is stupid. I've been meaning to get my flu shot for like the last month or so. I just kept putting it off, so I probably have like the flu or something. It's not a big deal.
Why did you put it off?
Well, I had a bunch of videos I had to get done. I couldn't really spare any time on the weekend to rest and recover from a flu shot or another shot I can't really tell you more about right now.
So instead you just got sick?
Right.
But you still didn't rest.
I think I'm doing a bad job explaining this. So I wake up around 6:45, right when the...
No, I get it. It sounds like you're burning the candle at both ends. You need to get some rest. Take a break every once in a while.
I will rest. I just need to build up a buffer, and then I can do that. But this is my job. It's how I pay the bills, and my biggest, most elaborate videos, they take the most time to write and record and edit, but they're also the best way to get as much ad revenue as possible. So I have to focus on those, make as many of those as I can, and then once I have time, I'll build up a buffer, and then I can rest and get my schedule back to normal. If I can just increase my video output overall, I can curry more favor with Oddwick, the Algorithm Wizard, and then I think I can get him to give me some of his power, and then I'll have the ability to get rid of him. I'll be in control of my upload schedule, and I can use his power against him. And that's why I'm here. I want your help. I need your help. If you come back with me, we can collaborate. We can write videos together or trade off writing videos, whatever. I'll film them, you edit them. We can make enough money to pay off our debts, get SupergeekMike into daycare, then finally hire an editor and pay them what they're actually worth to make sure that they're actually reliable, and then finally I can hand off some of the work to somebody else. It won't take much, just a couple more months of weekly Demystified videos, and we can finally get things figured out. You still have the watch, right? That's how you got here. You have the watch I used to travel back in time. Yeah, that's right. Winnie the Pooh gave it to me. What? You recognize this watch? Looks the same as my watch, the one that my wife gave me as a wedding gift. It's the same watch. You managed to fit a time machine into that watch. You think this is technology. You think this is a mechanical time machine. You think that in your lifetime, time travel is discovered and becomes ubiquitous enough that I'm able to get my hands on a time machine. Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, you're from the future. I thought that was a pretty reasonable guess, actually. Am I crazy? Am I the asshole here? Like, a guy from the future shows up with a watch that lets him travel back in time, and somehow it's on me to figure out that it's not literally a time machine? So, wait, so if it's not a time machine, what is it? This is a magic item. Like, a real magic item. How did you wind up with a real magic item? Why would he give you a magic item? Because I did what he asked. I gave him viewers, and he gave me power. Magic. He gave me this so I could make more videos. I could write a video, then travel back in time to the same day and record that video, then start editing that video, and once it was done, I could travel back in time to the same day and write another video, and record another video, and edit another video, all at the same time. At any given day, I could be working on as many as 3, 4, 5 different videos simultaneously. Thanks to this. Like the time turner? Like from Harry Potter. We don't make Harry Potter references anymore. Why? What happened? He's right. It's just like a time turner. Only instead of being controlled and regulated by some magical bureaucracy and loaned out to children, there's just the one. Just mine. So, wait a minute, you have a time machine, or a magic time machine, sorry, but you can literally spend all your time making videos. So, you finally have what I don't have. You have time. You can make those videos. I can take the watch now and I can start doing that. I can start doing exactly that. I can make all the videos I need to, and then when a video is done, I can just travel back in time to the beginning of the day and spend the entire day with my family. I can be the dad I want to be and the YouTuber I want to be. I would finally have the time to do both.
Let me show you something. Merry Christmas. I would give anything to see our child for the holidays. But if you don't make the time for your family, they won't make the time for you. You might think you could spend an entire day working on videos, reliving the same day over and over, and then just be able to turn it off and jump into fatherhood. But you couldn't do it. No one can. That's not how it works. If you spend all your time thinking about your videos, thinking about how you can maximize the time spent working on them, your family will always come in second. And eventually, they'll notice that. They'll realize that if your day job is so important that all you do is think about work, then you're not actually putting them first. If you can't disconnect and enjoy the time you spend with them, because you're only thinking about when you're going to be able to get back to work, you are making a choice. If you make the same choice every day, eventually your family will give you exactly what you asked for. All the time you need to work on your videos. Look around. Nobody's going to interrupt you now. You can spend all day writing, all day filming, all day editing. Is this better? Is this really what you wanted? Is this really who you want to be?
There we are. You owe me a demystified video. Talk about the Bard's Lament right now. Go.
Hello, Oddwick. You're looking like your old self.
I'm sure you're loving this, but I need you to start talking about a D&D game, please. Preferably a very dramatic episode where the audience is divided about who is right and who is wrong.
This is what he wanted. Future Geek Mike wanted me to stop making videos because it would starve you. Take away your power. He just couldn't see any other way to break the cycle.
I think what you meant to say is, welcome to Critical Role Demystified, I'm Mike Christensen.
It's why he spent so much of this year trying to get me to shut down my channel and get a real job.
In this economy? Impossible. You won't be able to feed your family. You won't be able to dig yourself out of the hole you've been in. Your only hope is to make more videos, make your most popular videos, make them constantly, grow your audience, get to 100,000 subscribers, and you'll never have to worry about this again.
That is what you promised me. But when Future Geek Mike showed me my future, do you know what I didn't ask? I didn't ask what his subscriber count was. But I was talking to, I guess, podcaster Mike, and I told him what his final subscriber count was, and he didn't really care. I mean, he cared a little. Obviously, he wanted people to listen to his show, but that wasn't the only reason he was making it. I think that's the trap I've been in all year long. Subscriber counts, chasing the algorithm, trying to put out videos that I hope are going to explode, and I just can't make that my priority anymore. The most reliable videos that I know get me the most views are the demystified videos. It's why you've been trying to get me to make so many of them, and I've been trying to make as many of those as I can, but I just can't keep doing that anymore.
You're not saying... You're not done making demystified videos?
No, of course not. I'm not done with the series. And I still love making those videos. I am definitely going to keep making them. But I just can't try to make them weekly anymore.
You promised your subscribers that when you hit 1,000 patrons, you would take that series weekly. So what, you're breaking your promise to your patrons?
Well, first of all, we still haven't hit that goal. The hope was that reaching 1,000 paid patrons across Patreon and YouTube would help me hire an editor to make that show more frequently, but we usually hover somewhere around 400 to 500 paid patrons. At my best, I don't think I've ever broken 600. And honestly, 600 patrons is incredible. That's more than most people ever manage to get. But I've not been making weekly demystified videos this year because we unlocked a goal. I was making those videos because we hoped that they would bring in enough success and enough viewers and enough ad revenue that I could make this full-time job a lot more reliable. But I just can't make that series every week. I mean, case in point, right?
Of course you can.
No, seriously, think about it. When I made that original Patreon goal, an average episode in that series tended to be around, 30 minutes long? Now I'm lucky if the demystified videos are under an hour. And I have a kid now. That Patreon promise just is not something I'm going to be able to promise anymore. So, if there's anybody out there who was only supporting me on Patreon because they hoped I would get to the point where I could make weekly demystified videos, ultimately, this is the point where I have to tell them that's just not going to be in the cards anytime soon. Honestly, it might never be possible. Maybe for a limited series, if I can write all the episodes in advance, film them, edit them, and then release them, sure. Something like that would definitely be possible. But for these 100+ episode campaigns, trying to make weekly episodes means I have to give up too much. Too many things that are honestly more important to me.
So you're just okay if you get a mass exodus from your Patreon?
I would understand. Yeah, I know I might lose some people by saying this, but by not focusing on making only 3 huge videos a month, and by being kinder to myself, I'm actually going to be able to start working on other stuff that I think the folks on Patreon are still going to really enjoy. Everything's a trade-off, but if I stop killing myself trying to get the demystified videos out every week and failing, just imagine what else I could get done instead. And still deliver demystified videos, just not as frequently.
Well, you don't get a vote. I'm in control of your channel, remember? I decide what videos people see of yours. So you need to make the videos I want you to make.
That's the other thing. I've been ascribing way too much power to you. You control who watches my videos, you decide which videos do well and which do poorly. That's only true if I let it be true. If I keep talking about you, the algorithm wizard, as if you're the only reason my videos succeed or fail, then every time I make a video, it's like I'm sitting at a slot machine waiting for a payout from a system I can't control, and that sometimes feels like it's literally rigged against me. But I've been thinking about this all wrong. Oddwick, you're a tool.
I beg your pardon?
Oddwick, I'm not going to pretend you don't offer any value. I'm not going to pretend you don't have any power, and I'm certainly not going to pretend you don't have very strong preferences for what kinds of content you'd like me to make. But I can't give you the keys to my channel. I have to figure out how I can still use you whenever it benefits me, but I have to be able to discard you whenever you stop being helpful, when you start pushing me to make the videos that I can't consistently make.
You can't discard me. You'll never be rid of me.
You know what? That's true. And maybe someday in the future, you'll find some way to screw me over from behind the scenes. But when I say I need to discard you, I mean, I just need to stop thinking about you sometimes. I just can't spend my entire day worrying about what you want me to do. I can't focus only on what will make you happy and feed you and give you more power. And I have to remind myself that you are not the only way I can get my videos in front of people anymore. I have an audience of people who are interested. I have a Patreon of people who are interested and they want to know what I have to say. I have a newsletter. I haven't sent out a newsletter all year because I've been so focused on making the videos that would make you happy. But I haven't even thought about all the other tools I have at my disposal, the other ways I can interact with my audience, the other rewards I can give my patrons besides weekly demystified videos, the other projects I've wanted to start that I've had to put on hold because for this entire year I've been so focused on how I can make enough money to live by making the videos you want. But I can't rely on you that way. I shouldn't rely on you that way.
So what, you're gonna go get a normal day job?
I don't know, maybe. And you're right, that's easier said than done these days, but it's not about that. It's not about where I'm getting my money. This isn't me trying to say that I need more Patreon supporters because I'm gonna make less successful videos on YouTube. I'll figure out the money. It's about remembering that I make these videos because it's fun. This year, I was so focused on trying to get through a lot more of the Vox Machina campaign. I wanted to make a lot more demystified videos. I wanted to give the audience what I knew they wanted, but I just wasn't able to get all those videos done. I wasn't able to make all the videos I wanted to make, and that's okay. But I was so focused on these deadlines that you'd set for me, that I'd set for myself, and I would beat myself up every time I missed a deadline because it would impact all these other videos that I wanted to make, and so I wasn't able to enjoy making videos the way I normally should. I have to get back to doing this because I enjoy it. Yes, that includes still making demystified videos because I think that's fun. But I also want to go back and start doing some of my other videos and returning to other video series where I start peppering them in throughout the year. Coming back to these video series that have been basically lying dormant and fallow for like half a year now. I need to make shorter videos. I need to do more live streams and find other ways to communicate with my audience. I need to foster the connection with them rather than just counting on the algorithm wizard to do all the work for me. This year I've been busting my ass to get as many demystified videos out as possible. And in a weird way, I feel like that's made me lazy. I've been counting on these demystified videos as these cash cows, trying to make as many of them as possible because I thought they'd be the most sustainable way for me to make the channel as profitable as possible. But the most successful window of time I've had this year was around Thanksgiving and Black Friday, where I made a lot more videos than I usually do, and I fed you well. But only one of those videos was a demystified video. The rest of them were just videos I wanted to make on topics that I thought were cool. Videos about other games like Daggerheart, or about my own D&D game and the prep I was doing. Videos that did not take nearly as much time to write or to film or to edit. I got so focused on just getting out videos this year, focused on writing and filming and editing, that for the last couple months, I've almost completely given up on doing subtitles, and that's not okay. The people who watch my videos with closed captions deserve what I promised them years ago. Quality subtitles. But just like my Patreon rewards or my live streams or everything else I promised anybody on this channel, I gave up on doing all of that because I was trying to make you happy, trying to prioritize the videos you wanted to see. But my audience likes my other videos too, so I can't just focus on you anymore.
Please, don't do this.
I'm still gonna make videos next year, hopefully a lot more videos. But if I miss an upload now and then, my audience has been a lot more understanding about that this year than I have been, let alone than you have been. And you know what? I have to be kinder to myself. And I have other projects I want to work on too. I want to start getting those off the ground, stuff for my Patreon, stuff for other channels, things that I'm also passionate about. If people want to see more content from me, they are definitely going to get it. But it's all got to be in service of changing my workflow and my mindset, completely changing the way I handle things behind the scenes. I just can't keep wasting my time trying to guess what the algorithm wizard wants me to do. Sure, I might sometimes check in with you, see what you'd recommend. Sometimes you have some genuinely good ideas, or at least useful insights. But other times, I'm just going to make simpler videos that are still reliable. They're not going to get a huge audience, but my audience of subscribers, the people who come here every week, will still enjoy them. Because I just can't be up until 1 a.m. every night editing videos. That just cannot continue to happen. I want my audience to trust that if they see me upload anything, that means I've found a way to fit the channel into my life, rather than forcing my life to fit into the timetable of my channel. Because this just is not going to work any other way.
You can't abandon your weekly demystified videos and still make reliable videos and still make money off the channel. Didn't you hear? DungeonTube is dying. There's no such thing as reliable videos anymore. You should make a video about that.
I'm sure that video would do very well, but all that talk about DungeonTube dying, that just has not been my experience. This year, when I've made videos, my channel has done well, and when I've wasted all my time working on these huge videos to the detriment of getting out any smaller videos, and I only get out 1 or 2 or 3 videos a month, well, go figure, on those months, my channel didn't do as well. And who knows, maybe next year I'll be singing a different tune. Maybe I really will feel like the future of this channel is in jeopardy. But so far, the biggest threat to this channel this year has been me. Not giving it the attention it deserves, not making shorter videos that my audience would still really like. I've spent so much time trying to make these huge home run videos that I forget I just need some videos that are just gonna get on base.
No. You need clickbait. I need you to clickbait. Come on, let's put Matt Mercer's face in a thumbnail again. Or Ginny D's face. Make a prediction, or complain about how Draw Steel is overrated. Come on, I need engagement. I can't survive without it.
Don't worry, you'll be fine. I know you feed off of comments and likes, and my audience will still keep you fed. They'll like the videos, they'll ring the bells, and they'll leave comments. And when they don't have anything to say, but they still just want to boost the video in the algorithm to help support the channel, they'll comment. I'm just here to feed Oddwick. They will keep the algorithm in their hearts all year round. But I don't expect we're going to see you again anytime soon. You've served your purpose, and sometimes I may learn from what you taught me. I'm going to try to apply your lessons to my future videos because you did have some good advice from time to time. But as far as you actually being on screen and telling me what to do, interjecting yourself into every episode and steering my channel in certain directions, I think we're done. Like any tool, once you stop being helpful, it's time to put you away.
No, please don't. You need me. You need me and the focus I gave you. You need me so you can stay on one task. Without me, you'll be helpless against...
God bless us, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you're wondering what all this means for the channel, and we're going to talk more about that the next time I make a video. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. None of the content you came here for is going anywhere either. None of my video series are ending. And in fact, you're probably going to get a lot more installments in almost all of my series next year. I also have some other projects that I'm really excited to start working on. It's going to be a very good year next year in 2026. But we'll talk all about that next time you see me, because I'm just going to take a minute, spend some time with my family, enjoy the holidays. And you know what? First things first, I'm going to make somebody's Christmas wish come true.
Who's that?
Hello, little one. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you. But I actually have a gift for you. You've been a good boy this year, I can tell. I have a little something I think you're going to like.